All right, at this stage, I really do think that it's high time for me to develop a checklist. When I go, try to make a video on YouTube, sometimes I'm in the middle of work and I get this idea to just spontaneously, go all out and create a video. And then there's one mistake that I constantly make, and this is exactly one mistake too many, which is I put on my camera, start to reel off, just like you can see me doing in this video, only for me to forget that my microphone is switched off. This is not the first time it has happened. It has happened like, if I'm counting correctly, I think like 5 or 6 times in the last 1 month. I just, get an idea for a video, I put on the camera, and for one reason or the other, I sometimes think that my microphone is hung. I normally tend to put my microphone right here, if you've noticed that from my previous videos. But this video right here, I was actually packing a very decent PC that sold today, a Lenovo ThinkPad E14 Gen 3 PC. I'm just going to take a look at how much it sold one more time. Everything I did say in the video, but unfortunately, there was just no sound, and this was all messed up, because this was one really good video. I would pretty much consider a banger video. This laptop sold for 368 euros and 96 cents, and it's been shipped within Germany. The buyer didn't have to pay extra shipping fee or something like that. I actually wanted to let you guys know that, look, sometimes we have to allow eBay do its thing, because I was talking to myself. As a matter of fact, in the beginning of this video, I did say that, look, this video is actually me talking to myself, but by extension, you are going to get 1 or 2 things from this video, because sometimes we tend to worry when things are not selling on eBay. And I am highly guilty of this. I have come here on the platform on YouTube, to make videos whenever things are kind of, roasting on eBay, and when things are not selling. Sometimes I come here. Yes, it's expected, because we depend on the income, the cash flow from the transactions we do on eBay to do certain things that we have set up. We have to pay expenses, the car has to be fixed, the rent has to be paid, the internet has to be paid. So many stuff like that. So when things are not selling, one way or the other, it tends to put us on kind of, high alert. And when it's kind of extending for longer than necessary, of course, we understand that, give or take, things will not always sell every day. Sometimes when it begins to extend for, longer than necessary, we come here to make noise about it. But then I was actually saying in this video that, look, we have to allow eBay do its thing. I'm just going to push the video backwards so that you can actually take a look at what I mean. This laptop here was listed about a month ago. I had 2 pieces of this laptop. I understood that this was a laptop that says it's a Lenovo ThinkPad, and if you know, a ThinkPad is a business laptop, and a lot of people tend to want to buy it. Organizations buy it, schools buy it, individuals buy it. I knew that this laptop was going to sell, but for one funny reason or the other, when I listed it on the platform, it was cricket for 1 month, and I was taking a look at it. One thing I didn't do was that I wasn't worried about the fact that this laptop was going to sell. If you take a look at it, it was a very decent laptop, beautiful in every way, very clean. Even then, I still had to clean it. I was confident that this laptop was going to sell. This was the one, instance where I wasn't worried, because when I took a look at other people selling this laptop, I did see that my price was one of the best on eBay, and the configuration which I was offering to the market was also, very, very good. But like I said, it is what it is. Sometimes you do not understand why items don't sell. So, but then I left it. I didn't have to do the classical advice that we tend to hear, which is when your items are not selling, go ahead and change the pictures, because on this particular offer, I had already done my homework very well. The pictures were on point. The title of the listing was on point, and the item description was also on point. So at this point, I didn't know what to do more to this laptop or to this listing to make it sell. So you know what I did? I left it alone. I knew there's going to come that day, and one person is going to come around and take a look at this offer and go ahead to buy it. And this was exactly what happened. I was just minding my business when I realized that my phone had given me a notification that this laptop has been sold once again for 368 euros and 96 cents. I was shocked. I was like, wow, At this point, it dawned on me that, look, sometimes we really do have to allow eBay do its thing. You see, sometimes we get so worried unnecessarily. eBay as a business is in the business of connecting, buyers and sellers. This is their core responsibility, and this is what they have said to themselves we are going to be doing. See, if they are not meeting that, or if they are not fulfilling that, they are going to be actually scheming themselves out of business, because they have set up this infrastructure, this online marketplace, to enable buyers and sellers, meet. And if you are a seller and you have done your due diligence in bringing the item that the market wants to the market, eBay, like I know from my experience, at least confirming it again, is this laptop. eBay is going to do its job to ensure that, look, they take this offer that you have listed on the platform and show it to as many people as possible until a buyer will buy the item. And this is what happens. It doesn't matter how many times you change the pictures. Of course, these things do help. If you feel like the title is not well optimized, you can actually go ahead and do justice to it. You can actually go ahead and change it, edit it, do whatever you want to do. They are good practices, but it doesn't remove the fact that, look, if there is nobody interested in that item at a particular time, it is not going to sell. This is exactly what happened to this laptop. All right, this is just an eye-opener for me, and this was exactly what I was saying in this video, that, look, if you have items that you are so sure that you have done your due diligence in ensuring that you have actually gotten the best item, you have listed it properly, and you have no reason to worry if the pictures kind of is in doubt, if a potential buyer gets to see it and maybe they are not so sure what you are selling. You are really sure that you have done your due diligence in making sure that you have the best pictures, the right listing, the right price. It is going to sell. Sometimes some items do take longer than the other. If you have really checked to see that this is an item that the market wants, understand that there's just going to come that day, one person somewhere is going to see it and they are going to buy it. And something I always do is that when I set up my offers, I always want to set up my offers in a way that my prices are very, very competitive. So when somebody has to land on my shop, from wherever, either from external traffic that eBay is, giving to us, or somebody actually does go to search for a particular item and finally lands in my shop, it's going to be very difficult for that person to actually go elsewhere to buy another item, because I take a lot of care to ensure that my prices are very, very competitive. And hopefully this is the strategy I am using. And with the selling of this laptop, I kind of realized that, look, sometimes some items just have to sit, and you have to actually allow time and be patient for eBay to do its job. And then I also did go ahead to tell you guys that, look, I actually did pack this laptop using this carton here. This carton was actually for a monitor, but I have about 10 or 15 pieces of this carton already empty, because the monitors have since been sold, somewhere else. But then I realized that this carton right here was very, very practical to pack, this laptop. It was very sturdy, and right here at the top, you can actually see, the handle that you can actually use in, carrying it when you are finished packing everything. And I just felt like, look, this was the best, packaging I had to, use for this particular laptop, because when you consider the fact that this was a laptop that is very, very expensive, and the condition in which this laptop is very, very pristine, you do not want to take chances in, doing a shabby job to ensure that, the laptop is well packed. And I felt like in this particular instance, this was the best I wanted to use. It's kind of slim, and the packaging is also of very high quality. So there's not going to be a situation where the item is going to be destroyed during transportation. This was what I actually did go ahead to explain. And I went ahead, made sure that the PC, the laptop in this case, was properly packed. Like you can see, use sellotape like I wanted to use it. Exactly what I was trying to tell you before. This is how you carry it. Just the handle of the packaging right there. This is very, very, important, because from my own experience, sometimes when the delivery drivers are not able to, lift your package with one hand, this is where, or this is in this situation, they want to kind of throw it. But if they're able to carry it with this handle, it kind of helps the packet to arrive, safely. Then I just went ahead to make some closing remark, trying to also encourage you that, yes, The road to be successful on eBay could be very, very challenging. There are so many times you might feel like giving up. There's gonna be that time where you feel like nothing is just working. You are putting a lot of effort and you are pretty much not seeing the results that you would have loved to see. I was just telling you here that, look, be patient. And I was also talking to myself because sometimes I tend to be, impatient sometimes, because sometimes you get some transactions, you see them, everything looks like green light, you go for it and you bring them to the platform, and for one funny reason, things don't just sell. For one funny reason, the item sits. It's not because the eBay is not working, it's not because the item in question is not, trendy, but there are so many things that goes on behind the scene before an item, gets sold on eBay. It could just be that at this particular time, there's just not that buyer that is interested in the item, or people are seeing the item and they feel like they do not have the money to buy it at the time, or for one reason or the other that's pretty much not known to us, the item is not just selling. But the truth is, at some point, that item is going to sell. Stay patient, stay calm. Do not allow items not selling today to disturb, the ideas you have about eBay. eBay is a functional, website, and you building a business which is to sell items on eBay. It's a very good thing that you have decided to do, and if you do it properly and you are patient about it, you are ultimately going to see success. Guys, if you have tips for me on how to, circumvent this problem of me making videos without putting on my mic, it's kind of funny, but go to the comment section, give me some tips that I could possibly deploy, to finally, get over this problem. But from my own side, I'm going to try to develop a checklist tomorrow. So as soon as I have the idea to go online or to make a video, I'm just going to take my checklist and ask myself, do you have your mic plugged? Do you have your camera on? Do you have, everything set up the way you want? Do you have your lights? Do you have your background lights? Everything that you need, so that I can constantly make you guys, good videos, not videos that will not have sound when I have to now, talk over the video again, which is just like extra work for me and extra, time spent. But it's what it is. Sometimes things like this happen. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.